Good morning, Vikings. I'm here today to share a very important message, and that is a message about student safety. As a staff, we want you to be ready to have a safe, enjoyable end of the year with all of the excitement and other milestones the upcoming summer brings. As the end of the year approaches and students make plans, most students will make safe plans in small groups of friends. Even so, we feel a responsibility to share some vital safety messages with all of our Vikings. Specifically, we'll hear first from our school resource officer about making safe, healthy choices during times of celebration. Then we'll hear some solid advice from other students around the concept of consent. As you listen, thank you in advance for doing so respectfully. Tune in as we share just a bit more.
Hello Vikings, I'm Officer Carter of the Lake Stevens Police Department, and as your school resource officer, a brief message. As festivities near, families and students often begin planning gatherings in an effort of socializing to support and celebrate you in this post-pandemic world. With some of these celebrations of accomplishment, you may find yourself in a situation where drugs or alcohol are present or being used. These situations often provide the opportunity of poor decision-making that can be detrimental to not only you, but those around you. Often, teens feel pressure from peers to engage in recreational drug or alcohol use, minimizing or discounting the dangers associated with them. You see, drugs and alcohol don't discriminate or judge. It doesn't matter where you're from, the color of your skin, or style of your clothes. They can all kill you, either by their mere use or events thereafter, and yes, even on the first time. If you find yourself in this type of situation, excuse yourself, call a parent or other trusted adult, or simply say, no thank you. I'm sure you too have read a post or article about a teenager who was a great person who made a bad choice that ultimately killed them. As an officer with a career spanning nearly 2 decades, I've seen these negative outcomes too many times. Each tragedy is filled with stories of how great that person was. I don't want to be telling a story about you one day. I've done that enough already. Your life matters. You matter to your family, friends, classmates, and our community. And please remember, don't use drugs or drink alcohol, and certainly don't drive if you have.
As Officer Carter said, it's also important to not use alcohol or substances at celebrations. It is also important to make responsible choices in our relationships with others and to respect others. One example is respecting when others communicate their boundaries. No means no. It is our job not to pressure others to do things they are uncomfortable with. Listen to a few students who share more about consent.
I ask for consent very forwardly because that's how I wish people would do it to me. So I just say like, hey, can I give you a hug? Or hey, can we do this?
Hey, is it all right if I hug you?
I hope you can come, but there's no pressure at all.
Hey, is this okay?
I wish people asked for consent to share my personal information or details about me.
When they just did normal everyday things.
When they want to hug me or touch my hair or touch my nails.
When they take photos.
When you're dumping a lot of intense emotional information or other intense stuff when you're talking to your friends.
The most looked over part of consent is the non-sexual consent that we see in everyday lives.
And making boundaries clear to those who are in your direct or distant family, because even if it's your uncle, your grandparents, whoever, they can still ask for consent and you can still accept or deny their offer.
Consent can be revoked at any point, regardless if you are in a relationship with that person or if you've said yes to that person before.
Power and privilege comes to role in consent is that it creates insecurities within someone's decision, whether to say no or to say yes.
People who have a lot of power tend to put underprivileged people into situations where they just are unable to express general consent for a lot of different things.
If you hold a position of power, it's your responsibility to be making sure that you're always getting true consent and not using any coercion to get people to do what you want them to do.
Nonverbal consent is something that would be really hard to effectively give without verbalizing it at least once.
There is a lot of room for misinterpretations or miscommunications, so when in doubt, I think it's always best to be verbal.
It's also important to remember that not everyone communicates with words, so just communicate with people the way that they're comfortable with and able to.
When people ask for my consent for non-sexual things, it actually makes me feel very respected and like my thoughts and opinions matter.
It A, reaffirms that they respect me, and B, reaffirms that they respect my boundaries if I choose to say yes or no to them.
Creates a more safer environment within what you may be dealing with within a situation.
It's just always a good reminder to make sure that I'm always asking for consent in situations where it's needed.
Thank you for spending some time with us today. We anticipate you and your friends will have a safe, enjoyable end of the year with all of the excitement and other milestones the upcoming summer brings. If you have questions about any of the information shared in this video, or if someone has ignored your consent or has caused you harm, we encourage you to reach out to a trusted adult at home or at school. We are here to support you. Our counselors will be available in the Career Center today during both lunches. They are also readily available in the Counseling Center at any time. Thank you, Vikings, for doing your part in establishing the Viking way of being responsible, respectful, and ready here at Lake Stevens High School. We look forward to ending the year Viking strong.